So he's a very complicated, depressed, unintelligent man who is seeking a role.
Tom Bower has returned with a book that rips through Meghan Markle's glossy façade, exposing whispered scandals, sealed deals, and private rows long buried by PR teams. Editors are sharpening knives, palace aides are bracing, and Montecito murmurs with nervous calls as old confidences are dragged into daylight. This isn't a gentle profile or another softball interview. It's surgical, relentless, and the fallout promises to be savage. The repercussions will last for years. So, could the myth of Meghan truly survive this brutal exposure? Let's dive into the details. When Tom Bower's pages set Meghan's world on fire, Tom Bower's latest book dropped like a thunderclap, ripping open the polite curtain that has long shielded Meghan Markle's carefully polished public life. Imagine a calm Montecito morning, birds, coffee, and the quiet hum of a massive hedge until phones start exploding with alerts. Editors scramble, PR teams sprint, conversations that once stayed behind closed doors are suddenly on the front pages, and the polished image Meghan spent years building begins to fray at the edges. This is not tabloid fluff. Bower is a different breed of writer, a relentless investigator who has spent decades coaxing truth out of the powerful. His reputation isn't built on gossip. It's forged on long, grinding research and a steady willingness to name names. For Meghan and Harry, whose story has been told and retold across streaming deals and magazine spreads, Bower's return promises more than a fresh take. It threatens to rewrite the whole narrative. His new claims, according to sources, dig back. Inside Hollywood, people remember deals and doors, favors that changed careers and introductions that opened gates. Bower's pages reportedly chart those crossroads. Who helped, who was passed by, and what was left unsaid. Those details, the kind that gossip columns drool over, are different when they are backed by documents, emails, and witnesses willing to speak on the record. Where Meghan's PR machine offers neat, cohesive chapters, Bower's work promises footnotes, old text messages, and new witnesses. The book also zeroes in on reinvention. According to insiders, Bower examines how narratives were reshaped, how a personal history was edited to fit a rising public persona. To some fans, reinvention is growth. To critics, it's a performance. Bower's account, if true, suggests the line between the two is blurrier than we thought. And when that line wobbles, trust becomes brittle. Loyalty built on carefully curated moments can fracture fast. Sources whisper that the shock came not just from public facts but from private, intimate memories. Things shared in confidence with friends, family, and close aides. Those are the details that cut deepest because they feel like betrayals. Meghan used to controlling the narrative. The idea that old confidences are being aired is unbearable. People close to the couple say Harry is frantic, trying to mitigate the damage while weighing whether to respond or remain silent. Beyond personal fallout, Bower's revelations could land as business blows. Partnerships that once seemed secure now look vulnerable. Production deals, speaking engagements, and public goodwill are delicate things. And in the world of fame, they wobble when reputations wobble. The timing also stings. Whispers of struggles around brand ventures and fading projects make the accusations feel more dangerous. When your business and your story are entangled, a blow to one is a blow to the other. Social feeds explode with debate. Fans defend, detractors pounce, influencers dissect every paragraph, and late-night hosts circle the controversy like sharks. Even quiet allies find themselves calculating risk. In an era where attention becomes currency, scandal can topple deals overnight and rewrite legacies and reputations. Yet the drama isn't just about proof or denial. It's about what stories we accept and who we trust to tell them. Meghan's narrative has been a beacon to some and a target for others for years. Bower's work challenges both camps, forcing fans and critics to look again at the parts they loved or loathed. As page after page surfaces, the spectacle grows more intense. Reporters call, allies fret, critics sharpen their takes. The quiet garden at Montecito becomes, for a morning at least, a pressure cooker. Now that the smoke is clearing, which of Tom Bower's revelations wounded her most? And who's really behind the betrayal? Keep watching to uncover the truth. Tom Bower tore through Meghan's identity. Tom Bower didn't simply revisit Meghan Markle's Hollywood hustle or her messy family history. He allegedly drilled into the most sensitive layer of all, her identity. According to leaks floating through newsrooms and royal circles, Bower's new material claims Meghan did far more than reinvent her public brand. It suggests she reshaped the very foundation of her life story, her childhood, her school years, and even parts of her early career, polishing and rewriting details to create a narrative that would later support her rise as a global inspiration. Bower reportedly spoke with former classmates from Northwestern, people who remember a driven, hyper-image-focused young woman who, they say, looks nothing like the compassionate, calm humanitarian she now presents to the world. These insiders describe ambition that burned hot, friendships that shifted depending on usefulness, and a constant pursuit of visibility. None of that is a crime, but it clashes with the softer origin story Meghan has repeated in interviews and documentaries. And then there's the emotional story Meghan once told the world about hardship, the broken car door, the struggle for lunch money, and the image of a young girl fighting her way through life without privilege. Well, Bower's sources allegedly paint a different timeline. They don't claim she grew up in luxury, but they suggest her upbringing was steady, comfortable, and far from the bleak picture she once painted. That's the part Bower reportedly finds most damaging. Not a dramatic scandal, but tiny contradictions. A small exaggeration here, a polished memory there. One or two of these would disappear into the noise, but a long string of them creates a problem. Because when a public figure builds a brand on honesty, even minor inconsistencies can shake the entire foundation. PR experts are already weighing in, calling this one of the worst timed storms Meghan could face. Her credibility, they say, is already weakened, and now every speech, every podcast, every interview is being revisited, requoted, and rejudged. Even Netflix, the platform that once crowned Harry and Meghan as storytelling royalty, is rumored to be uneasy. Executives love headlines, but they hate unpredictability. Controversy brings views, yes, but it also scares investors, advertisers, and collaborators. And right now, no brand wants to attach itself to a runaway fire. Meanwhile, leaks claim Meghan is not handling it well behind the scenes. Words like devastated and spiraling keep resurfacing. For a woman who has spent years trying to reshape her public image into one of strength, poise, and compassion, the idea of someone ripping apart her timeline piece by piece reportedly feels like a personal attack. She wanted control. This book threatens to take it away. But here's where the story takes a darker and more intriguing turn. Because people are asking a very uncomfortable question. How did Tom Bower get this level of detail? Some sources believe former palace staff talked. Others suspect forgotten Hollywood acquaintances who were never treated well on the way up. But there's another theory, the one that's allegedly keeping Meghan up at night. Whispers suggest someone inside her own family may have cooperated. And one name keeps rising to the surface, Thomas Markle. If that suspicion is true, it's explosive. Meghan and her father are already estranged, their relationship shattered on the world stage. But imagine the emotional impact of discovering your own father may have helped fuel a book that tears apart your life story. To make it worse, Samantha Markle is reportedly celebrating from the sidelines, posting cryptic messages that feel like victory laps. Meghan, according to insiders, has been desperately calling around trying to find out who talked and why. But why did she fear this version most? And what secret is still hidden in the shadows? Stay glued to your screen. We go deep to the details. The story she tried to control. The walls around Meghan Markle's carefully protected image are shaking once again, and this time the tremor didn't come from the palace, the tabloids, or a bitter royal aide. It came from a man who has made a career digging into powerful public figures and ripping away the polished layers they hide behind. Tom Bower's latest revelations have reopened old wounds, forcing Meghan's past back into the spotlight, especially the painful chapter she believed she had already buried forever. For years, Meghan worked hard to control the story surrounding her royal exit, her Hollywood journey, and most sensitively, her family breakdown. She painted her estrangement from her father, Thomas Markle, as the heartbreaking result of betrayal and media manipulation. The public embraced her as a daughter wronged by a cruel tabloid machine. But Bauer's sources are now challenging that version, suggesting there may be far more to the story than Meghan ever allowed the world to see. According to new accounts, Meghan may have shaped certain details to strengthen her image as the misunderstood outsider. One insider quoted in the book allegedly said, "Meghan believed that whoever controlled the story controlled the power, and if rewriting parts of the past helped her mission, she would not hesitate." That claim cuts deep, especially because her relationship with her father has always been the most sensitive and emotional part of her public narrative. Behind the scenes, Meghan is said to be devastated. Sources claim she broke down in tears when she learned how much Bauer had uncovered, details she assumed had been tucked away forever. She reportedly believed her past was locked behind closed doors, not waiting in the shadows to be dragged back into the spotlight. Now, old PR strategies, forgotten Hollywood contacts, and whisper network leaks are resurfacing, all questioning how her global image was created in the first place. And that is where the panic in Montecito truly began. Staff members are on edge, PR teams are scrambling, and Meghan allegedly feels cornered and betrayed. Phones have been ringing non-stop, lawyers reviewing every page, publicists drafting emergency responses, and Meghan, once known for her calm confidence, is said to be pacing in frustration, demanding to know which former friend or colleague dared to talk. She built her brand on transparency, on authenticity, on truth. But now that someone else is telling a different truth, her foundation suddenly looks less stable. Meanwhile, the media has exploded. Social platforms are flooded with old clips, interviews, and speeches being analyzed line by line. Even some supporters are starting to quietly ask, did the world hear the full story, or only the version Meghan wanted told? Royal insiders, on the other hand, are amused from a distance. After years of being blamed for leaks and attacks, they are simply watching the chaos from the sidelines, knowing they don't have to lift a finger this time. Make no mistake, this moment is bigger than one book. What's happening now threatens the entire brand Meghan has spent years constructing. The survivor, the truth teller, the woman who rose above cruelty and prejudice. If Bauer has indeed pulled the first thread, how much more could unravel? The tension has reached a boiling point, and the question hanging in the air is simple yet dangerous. Will Meghan fight back again with another emotional interview? Or has she finally met a narrative she cannot control? A storm is gathering, and the world is watching, waiting to see what collapses first, her public image or her patience. And just when it seems nothing else could erupt from this scandal, whispers are spreading about where the most damaging information really came from. Someone shockingly close. Someone who knew far more than Meghan ever suspected. Forget the family feud, that's only the surface. What's truly setting this scandal on fire is the public's reaction, and it's spreading faster than anyone expected. Let's take a look. Meghan's image under fire. For the first time in a long while, even Meghan's most loyal supporters are struggling to defend her. The online tide has shifted. Comment sections once filled with heart emojis and praise are suddenly overflowing with doubt, suspicion, and uncomfortable questions. People are asking why every part of Meghan's story feels so polished, so rehearsed, so perfectly packaged for sympathy. Why does her version of events seem to change depending on the interviewer, the platform, or the moment? And the question hitting harder than all the others is simple. If Tom Bauer is lying, why hasn't she sued him? That question matters because Meghan has never hesitated to use the courtroom when she wants to silence a narrative. She sued tabloids, challenged journalists, and confronted media houses without blinking. Yet now, with a best-selling book attacking the foundation of her public image, she remains silent. No lawsuits, no fiery legal letters, not even a carefully crafted Archwell statement. Just silence. And behind that silence, frantic damage control. Industry insiders believe they know why. Bauer, they say, is not reckless. He doesn't print claims he can't legally defend. One publishing source said, Bauer made the book court-proof on purpose. If Meghan sues, he can pull out evidence, messages, and witnesses. That possibility alone, they claim, is the one thing Meghan cannot risk. Because behind every polished story, there may be another version waiting in the shadows, one she doesn't want dragged into the light. Meanwhile, Harry is once again stuck in the middle. Sources close to the couple say he is exhausted, angry, and torn. On one side, he wants to shield Meghan from the storm, just as he always has. On the other hand, he cannot ignore the truth. Every new controversy tied to her name drags his reputation deeper into the mud. One insider described their Montecito home as tense and icy, nothing like the united front they try to project. Harry wants peace, but peace seems to be the one thing their life never delivers. And then there's Buckingham Palace. You can almost imagine the quiet smiles behind closed doors. After years of being accused of cruelty, neglect, and racism, palace insiders reportedly feel vindicated. They remember being called villains. They remember watching staff break down in tears after being labeled monsters in the global press. Now, as Meghan's public image begins to crack, those same insiders are whispering, "We told you so." No statements, no attacks, just silent satisfaction as the narrative they were blamed for starts to crumble on its own. But this story is far from over. In fact, the Bauer book might only be the opening act. Rumors are spreading about upcoming documentaries, investigative interviews, and more authors preparing to dig through Meghan's past, from Hollywood friendships to family fallouts. The illusion she spent years building appears to be collapsing piece by piece, and no motivational speech, glossy photo shoot, or charity stage can stop it. The saddest twist in all of this is that Meghan's greatest threat may not be the royal family or the hungry British press. It might be something far more personal, the truth she has tried so hard to outrun. Because once cracks appear in a public image built on perfection, the entire structure becomes fragile. And right now, her brand is dangling by its final thread. Let's rewind to the rift between Meghan and her father. What secret moment truly shattered their bond forever? Stay glued to find out. The broken bridges. The collapse of Meghan Markle's relationship with her father, Thomas Markle Sr., has become one of the most painful and public family implosions in recent memory. What began as a close bond slowly unraveled under global attention, media pressure, and a deep breakdown of trust that neither side has been able to repair. At the center of it all are a handful of key moments that turned a once devoted father and daughter into estranged strangers watched by the world. The first major blow came just before Meghan's 2018 royal wedding. As excitement built, Thomas secretly worked with paparazzi to stage photos of himself preparing for the big day. He later admitted it was a serious mistake, but the damage was already done. Meghan was reportedly devastated. To her, this wasn't a harmless lapse in judgment. It was a betrayal. She believed her father had fed the same tabloid system she felt was trying to destroy her reputation. What should have been a private family disappointment instantly became a global spectacle, fueling criticism, headlines, and embarrassment on the eve of a royal event watched by millions. But the scandal did not end there. After the wedding, Thomas began giving numerous interviews, speaking about Meghan and the royal family to outlets around the world. Each appearance pushed the two further apart. Meghan's position was simple. She had tried to protect her parents from the press, not feed it. Thomas, however, felt he had the right to defend himself and tell his side, especially once he believed Meghan had shut him out. From Meghan's perspective, every interview felt like a new wound. From Thomas's perspective, every silence from Meghan felt like rejection. The result was a cycle of hurt that played out through cameras, not conversations. As the estrangement hardened, both sides began expressing their pain publicly. Meghan accused her father of breaking her trust, lying to the media, and causing her emotional harm. Thomas countered by accusing Meghan of rewriting their history and abandoning him once she became part of the royal family. He claimed she had changed, become distant, and allowed palace advisors to control their relationship. Meghan's handwritten letter, later revealed in part by Thomas, showed the depth of her heartbreak, saying he had shattered her heart into a million pieces. The divide only widened as Meghan's half-siblings entered the spotlight, attacking Meghan and defending their father. Thomas Markle Jr. accused Meghan of mistreating their dad and fabricating elements of her past. These public family attacks intensified the narrative that Meghan was cold, ambitious, and ungrateful, while Meghan's supporters insisted Thomas was exploiting her for attention and sympathy. Even small family moments became symbols of their fracture. One example often cited occurred during Thanksgiving 2016, when Thomas reportedly brought a stack of tabloid stories to a family gathering, sparking tension that Meghan later referenced as an early red flag. Moments like these fed the growing sense that their relationship was collapsing long before the world noticed. Since 2018, father and daughter have remained estranged. Thomas has repeatedly said he still wants reconciliation and hopes Meghan will someday speak to him again. Meghan's side maintains that trust was broken by his actions, not hers. What remains is a frozen conflict, two people who once loved each other deeply, now locked in silence, with the world left to read the pieces scattered between interviews, letters, and painful headlines. This story is unfolding faster than anyone expected, and the fallout is only getting louder. What do you think? Will Meghan recover from this? Or is the damage already done? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe.